The TDC is proud to be joint organizer of the Asian Financial Forum, together with the Hong Kong SAR government. The forum is growing from strength to strength and is fast becoming the region's annual financial summit. It also serves as an annual reminder of the vital role played by Hong Kong in serving the region and the world.
The theme of this year's Financial Forum is Asia Driving Sustainable Growth. To achieve this, we must harness the potential of the whole region under a new and more connected model. This model is already taking shape. In the past year or so, we have seen deeper financial connectivity. A shining example is a gradual liberalization of the mainland currency, the renminbi. We have also seen deeper business connectivity and closer government-to-government links in Asia. Asia's full strength lies in its wondrous diversity and the tenacity of its people. By combining the individual strengths of our economies, I'm confident that Asia can drive sustainable growth.
We need to examine how Asia can sustain its growth momentum amid the difficult global economic and financial environment. Second, we have to contemplate how Asia can take up a bigger role in supporting a more sustainable and stable global economic growth trajectory.
Regional cooperation among Asian countries has become one of the most important strategies adopted by Asian countries. And China's growth, of course, is tightly linked to the rest of the world. And to open up the country is our fundamental national policy.
It is no surprise or coincidence that my first trip abroad in 2012 should be to Asia. It reflects instead the deliberate and conscious effort that the British government is placing on deepening Britain's partnership with Asia. For Asia will be the engine of world growth in this year and in the years ahead.
Europe is facing difficult times, but the so-called Eurozone crisis is sometimes difficult to understand. So, ladies and gentlemen, what exactly is this crisis about? First, let there be no mistake. This is not a crisis of the euro as a currency. The euro is here to stay.
The challenges we face are huge. Asia's role in sustaining global growth is critical, and this will best be achieved by ensuring Asia's own strong growth continues. To do this, growth must be inclusive, environmentally sustainable, and better balanced, with increasing emphasis on regional cooperation.
There is a reason for strengthening the regulations, and I look at the questionnaires and the answers were many people here agreed to the strengthening of financial regulations, and there is a reason to do that. Because if the regulation doesn't come up with the financial innovations, it would cause trouble again in the future.
India believes that there has to be a coordinated action from various regulators and governments. India is participating in the group of 20 and in FSB in a serious way. However, we do feel, and I'm again happy that 80% of you said that the time is now. I think if that realization comes on people who matter, then we will be able to perhaps deal with the situation much better.
We will deepen some of the regulations, and we will continue to do so in China and keep a very close link with these regulatory bodies around the world so as to promote an even more integrated and reasonable, rational regulatory structure.
Only a few months ago, the IMF warned that the global economy was entering a dangerous new phase. Sadly, that phase is no longer new, but it remains more dangerous than ever. The stakes are high. Without bold action, Europe could be swept into a downward spiral of collapsing confidence, stagnant growth, and fewer jobs. And in today's interconnected global economy, no country and no region would be immune to that catastrophe.
1 year ago, when we looked at the global economy, we were looking at recovery in global markets and the promise of continued growth in Asia. I posed at the beginning the question, has it happened? Well, I think you have to say that the outlook is probably a little bit less optimistic today. And I would have to admit that even in Asia, growth is being questioned.
I think we're in this environment at the moment that people are focusing very much more on the structural and the competitive aspects of the Eurozone, which is all about the burden of promises and healthcare pensions and social programs. And I think that's something that the whole world is going to be addressing one way or another over the next period.
We've created societies in Europe and to some extent in the United States where people think that they can retire earlier, live longer, and somebody else has to pay the bill. And for me, the bigger question is when that point gets addressed. And it's really hard. And you compare that with Asia, where it's frequent that you encounter people working into their 60s, 70s, and 80s, and it's just a different model.
Technology is moving too fast, and productivity is increasing, and consumption is not keeping pace. So jobs are getting lost. And this is a problem all over the world, and until and unless leisure become an important ingredient.
I think SMEs are more vulnerable when we have these crisis times, because they are more vulnerable because they cannot reach the information in time, they cannot reach the global markets, they cannot reach the financial resources in time.
Hong Kong has undergone economic transformation, actually is still undergoing economic transformation. And Hong Kong's experience of economic restructuring is really worthy as a point of reference for Shanghai. So in the course of its own economic restructuring, how can Shanghai increase its communication and interaction with Hong Kong so that Hong Kong's experience can be borrowed and can be learned from?
Entrepreneur spirit among the Chinese people has been the most major source of dynamism for China's growth. And I think this has to be further stimulated and sustained. What happened in the past, the history is worthy of study, but on the other hand, the future is still uncertain and unpredictable. But nevertheless, it is full of opportunities. Let me do a conclusion. I think for the major corporations in China are stepping out of China into the international arena. And as mentioned, it may not be all that smooth. The first time, they may be overpaying a bit, but they will learn in time.